everyone, welcome back to RJK English. This is the second part today of day 3. So today I wanted to look at this book, Kashmiri Language Teacher by Farooq Bukhari. One of the reasons why I'm going through, what is her name? Nitu course is to get the pronunciation so I can understand this book. So this is by Farooq Bukhari. I'm guessing he's connected to University of Kashmir, but it doesn't look like it. He's been working in the government there. So Kashmiri Language Teacher by Farooq Bukhari, you should definitely go and get it. I'm not going to obviously show you every part of this book, but I want to go through this first part and just read through it together. The Kashmiri Language Brief Introduction. Where did Kashmiri come from? And this is according to Kashmiris. Obviously, as I learn, I'm going to learn more, right? But you might come across some strange things in that Kashmiris believe, and could be true, that Hebrews, meaning the Jews from Palestine that we know from the Bible, when they were in exile, they would have been exiled under Persia, that they were brought into Kashmir. There's even books like this, Jesus lived in India, which is actually Jesus lived in Kashmir. So there are people that believe that Jesus lived in Kashmir. There are pictures of his footprint and etc. I'm not going to get into is that true or not. I'm going to look at what do Kashmiris say about their language. Kashmiri language, known to its natives as Koshur, has been spoken in Kashmir Valley and its adjoining areas since the times when Kashmir Valley was a grand lake, which has later been named Satisar by Sanskrit scholars. And people belonging to the Austric race called as Nags resided on adjoining mountains. So this is a common theme when we talk about Kashmir, that there were Nags or Nagas, sometimes associated with snakes. Naga is snake person, I believe, unless I'm getting something mixed up. Ostrich race, I don't subscribe to that type of racial theory. That, again, this could be a language issue. Ostrich race, they might be talking about Dravidians, but I don't understand where an ostrich race would come into this. But there were Nags, these Naga people. We don't know where they were from or who they actually were. There are Nagas in northeastern India. I don't know. But supposedly Kashmir was underwater. So it's a valley. It's literally a valley. And that it was a lake at one time. And that at some point it cleared out. And they're going to say that it cleared out through the Jhelum River, which is one of the 5 major rivers of Punjab, which Punjab means 5 rivers. Punch-ab. So water of the Great Lake Satisar drained out through the Jhelum and became available for habitations. New races, again, I don't subscribe to race. Dravidians, Aryans, and Israelites immigrated into the valley, and Kashmiri language went on assimilating new vocabulary, but the basic framework and syntax of subject, verb, object didn't undergo change. Now, Hindustani language is SOV. Main theek hoon, I good am, or fine am. In Kashmiri, buchus theek, I am fine, like English. It's SVO. And this person is saying that Kashmiri language was actually different. He's going to say here that a wrong notion has prevailed among pioneering researchers that Kashmiri language has evolved from Indo-Aryan branch of Indo-European. What this means is the Indic languages of Hindustani, Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, and Sanskrit, they are Indo-Aryan. They're related to Persian. And Persian and Indic split off, but they have a lot of similarities to each other. He's saying that what he's going to call the Dardic people. So let's keep going and then I'll explain. Indo-Aryan branch, okay, there were thousands of such words found in Kashmiri, which have their roots in Sanskrit. But this is due to the fact that Sanskrit remained the language of the court and literature for about 3 millennia through the 14th century AD, after which it was replaced by Persian. So he's saying here, Kashmiri language belongs to the Dardic branch of Indo-European languages, which got separated from the Indic branch prior to the Indo-Aryan branch. So I was doing this for Gore Vidal's creation, and then I stopped working on that. So you can see all of this. So if I pull this up, here's France, or sorry, Spain, France, all of that. Here's Turkey, modern day Turkey. Here's where Israel would be. Here's Persia, here's Iraq, Persia, and now into India. So Kashmir is up here. Here is Kashmir. See how it's a bowl of a valley? This was supposedly filled up at like a, this was a lake, and then it drained through the Jhelum, which I would have to figure out where exactly the Jhelum is on here. It is in here. I think it's something like right here, and it's going through. Here's Gulmarg, and it drained out, I think out of Baramulla right here. So that's what he's saying, and that the Nagan people were around this area. Maybe they're saying that that is the people that are in Ladakh. I don't know. But as you can see, it is separate. So the Sanskritic speakers would have come, and go out further. This right here is the home of the Indo-European languages. So around Ukraine, this area, and funny, Georgia is not Indo-European, but around this area. And they would have spread out from here. They spread out into Greece, Rome. You know, here's the Indo-Europeans. There were Indo-European speakers here in what is now Turkey. They died out. And there was also a branch that went this way into Bactria, which is Afghanistan and Iran, and then into India. And these were the Sanskrit speakers. And the old religion of Persia, Iran, not Persia, is Zoroastrianism. And their original scriptures, the language is very, very similar to Sanskrit, which is the language of the Vedas. And they were the Indo-Aryans that came in there, and they called themselves the Arya, the civilized. And what this person is saying is that actually there was an earlier group that left from the Indo-European speaker region and came and inhabited what is now called the Dardic language region, which is here, where is basically in these mountains here. And Dardic is, the problem with this is they are not related to each other. So Nuristani is not related to Kashmiri, but the Dardic languages are the mountain languages. Just like when we talk about the Georgian region, which I'm forgetting what the name of that region, or the Balkans. No, the Balkans are all mostly Indo-European, but in the Georgian area, they all are part of this group, but they're not related to each other. They just shared. It seems like Kashmiri Dardic language is an Indo-European language of a people that came before and inhabited that region, or maybe came when the Iranian speakers came and they broke off. We don't know, but that's sort of what this person is saying, if that makes sense. In common parlance, that means Sanskrit is not the mother of Kashmiri, but but a parallel language. So it's a sister. Kashmiri is a sister of Sanskrit. It didn't come from Sanskrit. It came at the same time or before Sanskrit. So it is an Indo-European language. Recent researchers have inferred that Kashmiri has not taken birth from Dardic or Sanskrit, but has been existing among the Aborigines, the original people of the area. From about 1500 BC, Aryans started inhabiting the Kashmir Valley. That's when the Aryans split off from their original homeland and, went into Europe. English is an Indo-European language, so is Kashmiri. Then, as a result of the annexation of Jerusalem in 586 BC, by Nebuchadnezzar, who was king in Iraq, what is now Iraq, the Hebrews settled in the Vale of Kashmir. I have not ever seen any evidence of this, but I'm not going to dispute it. It would kind of make sense in that if Persia controlled into the Punjab, which they controlled Taxila, maybe they put people in Kashmir at that time. I don't know. Okay, Kashmiri language has undergone yet another change when Central Asian immigrants brought a new set of languages, mainly Persian, to them. That's when Kashmir became mostly Muslim as well, was Persian. Sufi evangelists came into Kashmir and converted people to Islam, Sufi Islam. And that's why there are so many Sufi shrines in Kashmir. Okay, Kashmiri language and literature has also been accepting Urdu. So through the influence of Dravidian, Hebrew, and Sanskrit, I don't know how Dravidian would affect them. These have faded, but Persian has been a constant source of borrowing, especially because of Islam. Though Persian was replaced by Urdu as the state language in 1925, yet Persian words find their place in Kashmiri. Ab is well, actually, they're going to talk about it here. Okay, so what they're saying is Kashmiri had an original language. It was Indo-Aryan, came in 1500s, that it meshed with the Aboriginal language of the Aboriginal Kashmiri land people of the time. And that after that, it took on Sanskrit, it took on Central Asian languages, finally Urdu, and that this affected the language, but it didn't affect the grammatical structure of the language. So for instance, if you look at ab here, that is a Persian word. Punjab in India, Panj is like Panch, 5 in Hindi. Panj, I believe, is Persian for 5. Ab, waters, 5 rivers, 5 waters. So apparently Ab is still used in Kashmiri. Likewise, fire, chik, zong, ogun, I don't know how to say this, nar, I've heard of nar, is of Arabic origin and is used. They talk about other words that are used. So they've got a lot of influences from outside into Kashmiri. There are a few dialects of Kashmiri in the Southern Valley. Okay, so they go on. There's Marathi, Kamrazi, and standard dialect. Marathi is spoken in the areas that I'm familiar with, Anantnag, Pulwama. Kamrazi is in Baramulla, where I showed you that supposedly the Jhelum went through and cleared out the lake. That's in the north. The dialect of Srinagar city is standard dialect Kashmiri. I also have friends in Srinagar. Okay, so the main differences, and this is interesting, Marathi, my friends would be Marathi speakers. They pronounce words with a duh sound. So for instance, in Hindustani, parna is not actually a duh, it's a ra. It's a retroflex R kind of, ra, parna. But my friends say duh, they only have their duh. So that would make sense that Marathi keeps that duh. So for instance, kuri, meaning girl, is used, kapurd, and they say kud. Ik kuri jirana mohabbat kum hai. Kapurd for kapra. So they really use that duh. In case of present tense, Marathi pronounced padan, reading, like pardana. Okay, so there's basically it's saying there's dialects, but in Srinagar is the standard dialect. So that would be very interesting. They say that in the north, so here it is. Speakers of Kamarazi are soft-spoken, that's true. Accent of Marathi resembles the Dravidians. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And the accent, but there's something to it, right? So maybe Farooq Bukhari knows way more about Kashmiri than me. It doesn't make sense linguistically, but hey, he knows way more than me. Accent of the Kamrazi people represents the Hebrews. Very interesting to keep in mind about what Kashmiris are saying about themselves. Here are some books we could check out later. A cognitive grammar would be really interesting. Linguistic studies in Kashmir would be very interesting. Refresher grammar of Kashmiri. We're trying to get there, right? Anyways, this is kind of gives a history of what Kashmiri might have come from. I know I'm not teaching it perfectly, but you're seeing how I'm going through it. So that's the second part, and I will see you next time where we will go through grammar of Kashmiri. All right, see you. Hi everyone, welcome to RJK English. Make sure to like and subscribe, and that will help me make more of these videos. I'm on YouTube and on Instagram, and see us on Facebook, and we can talk further.